Okay, so craving. Then what's the cause of craving? What is the cause of craving? Any guesses? Why does the mind crave? Why can't it just be happy? Come on. We're perfectly safe. There's no tiger that's going to leap out and get us. Desire is the nature of being alive. True. True. I guess what I'm asking more, because that's absolutely right. It does have to do with our survival mechanisms, but as a matter of what causes the mind to crave something over something else in any given moment? What is it that's pulling the mind towards something or away from something? So again, the traditional view as well as that's right. Yeah, we're trying to meet our needs. And the way the body signals that is with feeling tone. Feeling tone. So not a feeling like a mood, but a sensation. Okay. And this comes as positive, negative, or neutral. And traditionally the word for this is Vedana. So an example of this would be a very simple example is I need to move positions in my chair because there's a negative feeling tone, somewhere on my butt. But then there's also, if you notice, like that need for the chocolate bar. I'm using chocolate as an example, by the way, because I'm highly addicted to dark chocolate. But if I slow down and I observe what comes before the craving in that moment of needing the chocolate, it's an uncomfortable feeling somewhere in my stomach or somewhere in my chest. It's some kind of physical sensation that comes up after the thought of chocolate, and then causes this craving because it's like I need that feeling to go away. So that's why I go for the chocolate. But it can also be a positive feeling. So it could also be, you saw someone attractive, right? So the eye produces this feeling, or rather based on your memories. Well, I don't want to give away because we're going down the chain of events, but at some point by seeing someone attractive, there was a positive sensation. And then you go, I want more of that. I want to be close to that person. I want to, talk to that person. This could also happen in the form of advertising. So we see something that looks delicious on TV, and creates this positive feeling, and then we want to go out and buy that thing. So then the question is, what comes before feeling tone? What comes before feeling tone? What is it that creates that positive or negative feeling to arise? Thought and perception. Yes. So essentially, yes. And a lot of what I'm going through happens kind of simultaneously. So there's actually contact, feeling, and perception happen basically instantaneously. But for the purposes of sticking to the traditional links of dependent origination, which is what we're going through, it's contact, which is basically info from the five senses plus mind. So plus mind means it could be a thought, but it could also be the five senses, the five external senses, sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. I think did I miss one? Yeah. So this is basically all of the sensory data that's coming at us. Most of it's being ignored in any given moment, but whatever is most salient, which is often a thought, honestly, unless something has radically changed in your environment, then the mind latches onto this thing. It finds it pleasant or displeasant. And then, so that's the feeling tone. Then after the feeling tone comes the craving, either wanting more of it or wanting to push it away. And then from the craving comes the agitation in the mind. So this is just a chain of causality. And like I said, in Buddhism, it's called dependent origination. In neuroscience, it's called predictive processing. This is basically the leading theory of how the mind works. Because for the longest time, they thought that the mind was like a movie camera that was just passively recording the world. But as it turns out, as more recent neuroscience knowledge is showing us, the mind is actually creating the world in some sense. It's actively choosing what to pay attention to based on what is most salient for what previously would have helped us survive and reproduce. So, basically, this can get very complicated. So I'm just trying to, like I said, there are 12 links of dependent origination historically in Buddhism, but I've basically simplified it to the most important 5. And the way to think about this is that the mind is, in every moment, it's choosing what to pay attention to based on what would have previously helped us survive and reproduce. So it's got certain programs running that make it predisposed towards things that are flashy, bright, novel, changes in our environment, or thoughts that trigger some kind of emotion that might have, helped us survive and reproduce. And the point is that all mental events are conditioned based on previous memories, based on evolutionary psychology, like basically the genes we inherited from our parents, as well as epigenetics. And the point is there's a cause and condition for the agitation, like we talked about at the beginning. The problem, in other words, can be traced back to these series of causal relationships that are occurring in every moment in the mind to produce the agitation. And so understanding this will help us find the solution. And, this was really considered to be the core teaching of the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, right? He wasn't just some myth or legend. This was like a historical figure. You could think of him as the first psychologist, really. He was like that. He was like that curious kid who just keeps asking why. Like, why is the mind agitated? Okay, well, craving, but then why craving? Why craving, mom? So he just kept tracing back this series of dependent arisings or reactivity in the mind.